What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, we're going to have fun doing an ESPN PPR Mock Draft. This is going to be a 12-team PPR full mock draft here. The lobby is just about to start here. I'm going to hop into it, and let me get the screen share going when it comes up. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. It's Wednesday, July 5th. Hope everyone had a wonderful July 4th yesterday. Let me get that screen share going. And yeah, we're in the 6th overall pick in this one. Bijan Robinson is the 6th overall player on ESPN ranking, so that's why I ended up putting him on the thumbnail today. Good evening to Aiden. Good evening to Chase. And yeah, man, I'm sorry. I sent the mock draft out to everybody. And then whenever I do these mock drafts, I'm trying to do them, I think, Wednesday nights going forward. But I always post the lobby link 15 minutes before. That's when they open up. So I try to post them on time there. But anyways, looks like Aiden got the 1st overall pick in this one, so we'll be watching for him. And then our guy Harris is in the chat. He's in the 8th overall pick here. And if anyone else is watching the video and they're in the draft, let me know where you're picking, and we can kind of monitor your situation. But the draft starts in about 30 seconds. Yeah, we're gonna have fun with it. And then before it starts, I just want to say I do have a mock draft playlist available. I'm probably going to put it in the description or one of the comments below. If you want to check out the other picks, I've already done picks 1 through 5. So if you have the 1 through 5th pick, that might be a good video for you to watch. And again, we're going to continue to do this every week the rest of summer. I did put out a Yahoo draft. I put out a sleeper mock draft too. So if you guys have if you guys have a specific mock draft that you need, sleeper, Yahoo, ESPN, whatever, let me know your platform, your pick number, and your league size, as well as, PPR, half PPR, that kind of stuff. So Aiden is in the 1st overall pick. He goes with Justin Jefferson. You can see the players here on the bottom right coming through here, and then I'll kind of filter the pick history too. So you can see JJ and CMC, the top 2 picks in full PPR. Most of the leagues that I play in are full PPR. I do have one league that is a standard league, so no half PPR, but I do play a lot of best ball on Underdog. So we're going now, and hey, if you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, definitely subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. It helps people know that this is a good video, and it helps the channel grow. So Eckler at number 3, Cooper Kupp at number 4, Travis Kelce number 5. So we get the guy Bijan to fall to us, but I think it's a mistake to have Jamar Chase fall all the way to 6. This is a huge mistake. I think Jamar Chase isn't that far off of Justin Jefferson. So even though I did put Bijan on the thumbnail today, I got to go Jamar Chase. This seems like an error. So we collect Jamar Chase here. My wide receiver 1. When I filter my fantasy rankings here, I have Jamar Chase as the 4th best option. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's see. Oh, man. So we missed on Jordan Love. All right. That sucks, man. Well, at least you knew you were on the right track. We were looking at the right players. Hopefully you guys keep moving. And yeah, I don't get Jamar Chase at 6, especially in a full PPR league. Again, I think my projections here, I have Justin Jefferson as the top overall player, but in a full PPR format, I have – oh, actually, Cooper Kupp might be up there as well, but I'm all in on Jamar Chase. I'm all in on the Bengals offense. I think we want pieces of that offense. And yeah, in a full PPR, Jamar Chase, what I found too is Jamar Chase actually led the league in targets per game last year in the games that he played. So he might be the guy that is the sneaky 101 wide receiver finish this year. And yeah, Nick Chubb at 8. Harris grabs Nick Chubb here. I like Nick Chubb a lot, but I don't know if I like him in the 1st round of a full PPR mock draft. I get it, though. Nick Chubb could be a guy that gets more receiving volume this year. Let's see. He was RB6 last year. I don't know if I take him at this point, but I like Nick Chubb a lot. I think for me, though, he's more of a round 2 pick. But, hey, Harris didn't want any of the wide receivers here. It's fine. We'll see what he comes back with here in the 2nd round. And I know Harris does mostly, I believe he plays mostly standard league. So that might be what he's trying to prep for. So to each his own. I like Nick Chubb quite a bit, and he is my RB4 in my projections and rankings right now. I think after CMC and Eckler and Bijan, I'm pretty sure I have Nick Chubb as my RB4. So I like it. And there's the end of the 1st round. You see after Chubb go Devontae, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and then there's Bijan Robinson falling to 12. And it looked like Amon-Ra St. Brown just went at the top of round 2, followed by Jalen Waddle. Both good picks there in full PPR formats. As it's coming back to me, I wouldn't mind looking at the running backs. We can maybe take a peek at another receiver, but that's probably the 2 positions we're looking at. Garrett Wilson goes 15th overall. And let's see what Mr. Shumpert does here. And then it looks like Harris is on the clock. So Jonathan Taylor, 16th overall. Harris is up to pick. There's some good running backs here. I'm going to bet that he goes a running back start. And he gets A.J. Brown. Great pick. I love A.J. Brown pick. So, like, honestly, Harris has a pretty good start here with AJB. And, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. In all my best ball drafts, he's a top 10 pick. So I love A.J. Brown. We all should be drafting A.J. Brown. So I'm on the clock. I got Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall. It's telling me to take a running back. I'm going to collect Derrick Henry. I'm not super excited about it, but we'll collect Derrick Henry here. I think that's fair value. I do have him as a top 10 running back. He can be top 5. I'm a little bit nervous about the offensive line in Tennessee. They also have a quarterback competition, but I think Tannehill's going to hold on to the job a little bit longer than people expect. So to me, Henry's a good pick. He's a volume pick as long as he's healthy. Yeah. I think he's got at least one more year. How is he turning 30 this year? Derrick Henry, he turns 30 on January. So this is his last season under 30. So maybe this is the last big season for Derrick Henry. I still like the Titans offense a little bit. So, but yeah, the A.J. Brown ADP, like in best ball drafts, he's usually the 8th or 9th pick. So for Harris, Harris ended up taking Nick Chubb at number 8, and then he got A.J. Brown on the comeback. If in best ball leagues, those picks are usually flipped. So I think those are 2 great picks. I love AJB and I love Nick Chubb. And yeah, man, I think I might have to grab Tajay Spears at some point. I was doing some digging and I found out last year that, what was his name? Dontrell Hilliard was the receiving back last year for Ryan Tannehill. Dontrell Hilliard caught 4 touchdowns. They also gave Hilliard not a lot of work, though. They gave him 22 carries. They gave Hassan Haskins 25 carries. But between the two, they gave Haskins and Hilliard 38 combined targets, but Hilliard did catch the 4 touchdowns. So I think there's a nice little receiving game for Tajay Spears in there. And again, I'm pretty excited about Spears. I think he's a good pick at the end of drafts. Because honestly, personally, I think Tajay Spears is their 3rd best receiver. After Treylon Burks and Chigo Okonkwo, they have Kyle Phillips, they have Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. It's kind of junky there. So I like Tajay Spears late. But let's recap here. We're into the 3rd round, but after I take Derrick Henry, you see Pat Mahomes go, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Aiden at the 1st overall pick. He gets Chris Olave, fantastic pick, and Devonta Smith. So he gets 2 stud wide receivers there to pair with his Justin Jefferson. So he's got the triple wide receiver start. We'll watch and see what he does with that. And then it looks like T. Higgins, Jalen Hurts, ETN, and Keenan Allen were the next picks. I'm on the clock right now. I could take a Josh Allen. I think DK Metcalf definitely sticks out for me as a receiver that I wouldn't mind to have here, but I might do something a little bit differently than I've done before. Again, I like some of these players here. I kind of want to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Gibbs has top 10 position or top 10 upside at the position. I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs because I have a feeling I'm going to like the wide receivers the later we go. So I will grab Jahmyr in my running back rankings. Let's see where I have Mr. Gibbs. Let's see. This is full PPR. I mean, I have Jahmyr Gibbs as the 27th best flex player available. And we get him at, I think we got him at 30. In terms of my running back projections, I have him as RB12. So I'm potentially getting 2 RB1s with Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs. I feel pretty good about that duo. Henry is my guy that's going to get a lot of, running volume, and Gibbs is going to be my passing down threat. After I take Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Allen, Ramondre Stevenson goes to Harris there at 32, DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper off the board. Chase says, in my 10-man college fantasy league, the champ of the previous season gets first pick. I won last year, and I'm definitely going JJ. Yeah, man, I think it's in your favor to go 3 wide receivers. I like the running backs in this range, but to get Aiden got Olave and Devonta Smith. Those guys are both fringe wide receiver ones. I think I want to go with those young ascending players. I like them quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, if you can get Waddle, to be honest with you, like Garrett will in the best ball drafts that I do, Garrett Wilson goes like 13th, 14th, 15th, and then Jalen Waddle shortly after that. So both guys are fantastic picks. They should both be early second rounders, and if you can get them at the end of round two, I think you're stealing. And we can find running backs if you want a running back. I do like Tony Pollard in that situation, but I think my style of plays, I usually find some pretty good wide receivers late. But we're up to pick here. It's telling me running backs are the best available again here. And Damian Pierce, Rashad White. There's Mark Andrews. I don't hate him as a fun tight end weapon. Godwin, Watson, Deontay. I'm going to just lock in Damian Pierce here, my third running back. And again, I usually don't do RB heavy drafts, but I got Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, and now Damian Pierce. I probably should have taken Mark Andrews, but I have some tight end prospects that we'll get to at some point here. I need receivers soon, though. I need to start pummeling those guys, but I've noticed on ESPN the receivers are pushed down the board a little bit. Running backs are pushed up. I can usually get Damian Pierce later in my best ball leagues. Rashad White is like an 8th round pick in those, and Damian Pierce is like a 7th round pick. So I'll take those guys though. And yeah, I should have taken Mark Andrews. He didn't have the best season last year because we know Lamar Jackson didn't play the full season. But when he was, I mean, look at his numbers the first weeks 1 through 6. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 games of over 20 fantasy points. You can see the last few games where Lamar didn't play. That's where his season kind of came to a close. But I'm all in on that Ravens offense. It's a great pick, Mark Andrews. I probably should have taken Mark Andrews there. But let's do a little recap. After I did take Damian Pierce, you see Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Calvin Ridley, Mark Andrews, and then Aiden gets his Christian Watson and J.K. Dobbins. So Aiden's now rocking 4 wide receivers, JJ, Olave, Devonta, and Christian Watson. And then he's got J.K. Dobbins in there at the running back spot. I love J.K. Dobbins this year. I think he's going to have a ton of rushing yards, but I think he's going to be more utilized as a receiving weapon. So I'm all in on Dobbins in that Ravens offense. So I like Ridley, but again, Ridley goes in the 4th round on ESPN here. In my best ball drafts, he's a mid 3rd round pick, late 3rd round pick. Personally, I prefer Christian Kirk a few rounds later. We can maybe even queue up Christian Kirk since we're going to need wide receivers. So I'm not sure if Calvin Ridley is the alpha wide receiver on that team. I think Christian Kirk, he was a fringe wide receiver 1 last year. So I think between the two, if I squint, I don't really see a difference between the two. I think Kirk's going to lead the team in receptions and targets. Ridley's going to lead the team in yards, maybe touchdowns. But I think to get a guy like Christian Kirk much later, I think it makes more sense. But we're back on the board here. I could grab TJ Hawkinson to make up for my tight end miss there. But otherwise, there's some good receivers here, whether it's Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams. We got some fun options here at the wide receiver position. I'm going to grab Mike Williams. And I know a lot of people are nervous about Mike Williams staying healthy. And I mean, we should be. But when I looked at his numbers from last year, he put up some big games. He had 25, 19, 23, 21, 23 when he got back. And I think when you look at his numbers to end the season, these last 5 games, this is kind of what I'm expecting Mike Williams' season to look like. Between 5 to 10 targets per game, 4 to 7 receptions per game, good chance at a touchdown and maybe 100 yards. I think that's kind of his range of outcomes. I want to be attached. I want to be attached to the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Yep. You talking for the Jags? Again, I like the Jags offense. I think we might be pumping them up a little bit too much, but again, Calvin Ridley's or Christian Kirk's probably the one guy. I mean, he's down here at 89, which just seems way too low. Again, he was wide receiver 12 or 13 last year. That seems like a pretty good value. I could get my guy Justin Herbert here on the next turn. Let me just recap those picks. After I take Mike Williams, you see Alexander Mattison, DeAndre Swift to Harris here at 56. Miles Sanders, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Fields, and Mike Evans close the 5th round. Start of round 6, you got Darren Waller, Cam Akers, and Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, hopefully, again, I need a tight end yet. I have my 2 running backs in my flex filled. I'm gonna grab a lot of receivers in this one because I went running back heavy, and the way the board is falling, I think there's a lot of good wide receivers out here. I mean, I like Drake London, I like Kirk, I like Ayuk, I like Dotson, I like Burks, I like Pickens, I like JSN. There's For some reason, I think on ESPN drafts, I think it makes a little bit more sense to wait on wide receiver, if that makes any sense. I'm going to grab Justin Herbert. This way, it locks me into a top 5 potential QB. I like my running backs. I feel good about my top 2 receivers. Let's just grab Herbert, and then we kind of locked in all the major positions. And then there's still some, there's some tight ends that I like here. I love Goddard. I like Pat Frymuth quite a bit. If we can get one of those 2 guys, I think I'm feeling pretty good about our well-balanced offense here. Let's go back to the pick history. All right, so 6th round, you see Dalvin Cook go. I think that's too high for Dalvin Cook. I don't know if there's a situation that he goes to where he's going to pay off this kind of running back 2 ADP. I know the hot rumor is Miami. I think the Jets are another pretty good bet. But the Patriots, man, like if he goes to the Patriots, splitting time with Ramondre Stevenson, I think if you look up the odds right now for where Dalvin Cook could go, I think it's a tie between the Patriots and the Dolphins. So all the AFC East teams are looking at him. It's pretty crazy to me. I don't know if I get the hype there on Dalvin Cook at 68th overall. George Kittle, James Conner, the next 2 picks to go. Yeah, I'm feeling good about the Justin Herbert value to get him at 67. I think he's a top 5 QB this year. I'm very excited about Herbert. And I know he did not play well last year, but there's so many things going the right way for the Chargers this year. Healthy offensive line, healthy Herbert, healthy Mike and Keenan. And then you have Kellen Moore coming over from Dallas. I think it's going to be a really fun year. And then there goes Aiden Tobin with his Dallas, Goddard, and Trevor Lawrence pulls. Let's see what Aiden's team looks like now. He's got Trevor Lawrence at QB. J.K. Dobbins, the lone running back. His receivers, J.J., Olave, Devonta, and Christian Watson. And he gets the little mini Philadelphia combo here with Goddard in there. So I like what he's got brewing. He's just going to need to pepper some running backs in there. Let me pivot and look at Harris's team. He's got Nick Chubb and Ramondre Stevenson, his top 2 running backs. A.J. Brown, D.J. Moore at wide receiver. DeAndre Swift and Terry McLaurin competing for flex duties. So he's got a nice, well-balanced team to start as well. Let's see here. We're coming up to our next pick. There are some good players available still. I don't get why these wide receivers are so dang low. Like Treylon Burks, George Pickens, JSN. I do like Pat. We can get Michael Pittman on the team. I did a mock the other day where I did take Michael Pittman Jr. Not sure I need to take him again here, but it would be at ADP, so I guess I don't hate it. We can see what comes back to us in the 8th round. What I like about Pittman is, and I get it, like we're all kind of nervous about what Anthony Richardson can do, and Ayuk is a good pick as well. I think it's between these 2 guys. I did take Michael Pittman Jr. in my last mock draft, so in this one I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk because I think he's really freaking good. But I think Michael Pittman Jr. is pretty good too. And just look at his last. I think this is his range of outcomes. His last 4 games of 2022. See 12 points, 16, 7.9, and 19. I still think he's going to get all the targets. He's going to be the leading target guy for Anthony Richardson. And, the dude was playing with Nick Foles, Sam Ellinger, and the ghost of Matt Ryan last year. Finished wide receiver 18 or something like that. So I know it's not exciting, but I do think Michael Pittman Jr. is starting to present somewhat of a value as he falls into the 7th round. Let's see. After I take Ayuk, you see Brandon Cooks, Samaje Perine, Michael Pittman Jr., Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks, Dak Prescott, and Michael Thomas. I think you mentioned. Let me see if I can find it. Rashawn Johnson at 2-1 instead of Mims. Wow, Mims fell to 302. So did you get him at 302, Chase? If you've got him at 302, that is pretty good value. Mims is one of my favorite wide receivers. He had a really good profile coming into the year, and hopefully Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton's going to use him kind of like a Brandon Cooks, which could be very exciting. Very exciting. But anyways, we're almost up to pick here. I do have a guy queued up. We'll see what Harris does with this 8th round pick. And he goes with Juju Smith-Schuster, pick number 89. We miss on Pat Frymuth at 90. That would have been my pick, so that's unfortunate. But we're up to pick again now. Jacoby Myers, Jackson Smith, and the Jigba are available here. I think I'm going to go with JSN. because I need more receivers. I only have Jamar, Mike Williams, and Brandon Ayuk. But when I'm thinking about JSN, is I think he's going to be a guy that, towards the end of the year, I think he's going to be a guy that we want on our team. So I'm kind of building that into my drafts right now, where I have enough receivers to start the year. But if I can somehow come away in the draft with JSN in my back pocket and get him for the fantasy playoff run, I think that's pretty good. A pretty good way to look at drafting a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba. But yeah, Chase. So we got Rashawn Johnson at 211, and I'm hoping you were at 3-2. If you got Mims at 3-2, that's pretty sweet. But let me kind of do a recap here. The 8th round, you got Michael Thomas going. James Cook's one of my favorite picks in the 8th round. Khalil Herbert at 87 here. George Pickens, a great wide receiver pick. Harris goes with Juju Smith-Schuster. I kind of want to pump the brakes a little bit on Juju just because we don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is going to sign there. They also just extended Devontae Parker. Obviously, if Hopkins lands there, that's going to make things really murky. And I believe Juju's hurt right now. He's kind of nursing an injury. So I need to see more. I don't really have a good answer. I need to see if Juju's going to be there in training camp. So I think at the moment right now, I'm not exactly in on Juju, but if he's there at training camp and he's looking good, then we can pivot. Pat Freiermuth goes 90th overall. We collected JSN here at 91. Jacoby Myers, Evan Ingram, Njoku, Kirk Cousins, and then Aiden grabs 2 running backs. So we were watching him. He has J.K. Dobbins, and then he grabs Javonte and Jamal Williams. That's like one of the best pairings for Javonte Williams, because I think you can start Jamal at the beginning of the year. And again, we don't know when Alvin Kamara's suspension ruling is going to come out. He has a court date. I think it's set for July 31st, so we're almost there. But man, as soon as Alvin Kamara's suspension comes out, and say it's 4, 6, or 8 games, Jamal Williams is a starting running back for those games. So I like the scoop there. But anyways, we're up to pick. We got 4 receivers, 3 running backs. I do need a tight end yet. I don't see one that sticks out. Receivers, I can grab Beckham, Addison, Rondale, Sutton. Quentin Johnston's a guy that I like for sure. Running back, B-Rob Gibson. I'm going to take Antonio Gibson. And the bull case for Gibson is I think he's going to catch a lot of passes. Last year, when I was looking at the Commanders' offense, they threw Gibson 58 targets. He caught 46 of them, but guess what? They also threw J.D. McKissic 40 targets. And I don't think Brian Robinson profiles as a receiving back. I think he'll get a little bit more receptions than he had last year. Maybe he gets 20 targets, maybe 1 per game or something like that. But I think most of the receiving targets are going to Antonio Gibson. I think he's going to maybe be almost an 80 to 90 target player in this offense. You have Eric Bieniemy there. I'm willing to bet on Antonio Gibson being an interesting PPR back. Definitely in PPR, not exactly sure about it in full PPR or half PPR. But yeah, Gibson, in the best ball drafts that I do, Gibson's a top 100 pick. I get him at 102. I feel pretty good about it. Brian Robinson goes. Damian Harris goes to Harris here at 104. Cole Kmet at 105, that seems a little too aggressive for me. Jerick McKinnon at 106, Tyler Higbee, and Odell Beckham at 108. And we are entering the 10th round. I need a tight end yet. I'm feeling good about my RB depth. We got Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dameon Pierce, and Antonio Gibson. So maybe we need one more at best. The wide receivers need a little bit more built out. We got Jamar Chase, Mike Will, Brandon Ayuk, and JSN. So I'm liking the balance so far. We'll find a tight end. I think at this point I'm going to probably punt and we'll just scrap together some guys. But as I'm looking around here, I like the receiver value here. I like Rondale Moore. He's got some interesting numbers from last year. Sutton, Gabe Davis. I don't mind a guy like Gabe Davis because he's going to be heavily involved in that Bills offense. So maybe I take a Gabe Davis here. Sure, we'll go with Gabe Davis. I wanted to take Rondale Moore. I just want to show you guys Rondale's numbers from last year. He's rising up my board. Look at his first 5 games of 2022. 5 straight double-digit games in PPR. He had targets of 7, 11, 10, 7, and 11. His receptions were up there. He had a 100-yard game against Houston. Doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns, but look at the targets. When he played, man, dude got a lot of targets, and I probably should have taken him. Actually, that is Cortland Sutton. My bad. Why did it give me Cortland Sutton here? I want to look at Rondale Moore. Show drafted. Go to the wide receivers. I want to show you guys Rondale Moore. Where did he slip away to? All right, Rondell Moore. Last year he got hurt early, but he did have some interesting PPR days. He had 5 games over double digits. He had 3 games over double-digit targets, a 9-reception game, an 8-reception game. Again, didn't catch a lot of touchdowns, but he was highly effective as a pass catcher here. So he's a guy. Cardinals just don't have a lot going for them. They're going to throw the ball a lot. I'm interested in Rondell Moore, especially at this late of the draft here. I do want to see if we can get my receiver to fall to us. Hopefully no one takes him. And we're just loading up here. But we did get great Gabe Davis. This was probably the right pick. A lot of people do not like Gabe Davis, but week 2, man, he missed week 2 because of an ankle injury, and I don't think he was the same the whole season. He was kind of hobbled, dinged up for most part. I think at worst, I view Gabe as like a nice wide receiver 3 flex piece. Like if I'm on a bye week and I need to whip out a guy, I feel okay whipping out a guy like Gabe Davis. But I'm going to continue to draft another wide receiver here, and then we're probably done. We're going to draft another rookie, Quentin Johnston. We get him stacked with our Justin Herbert. If anything happens to Keenan Allen, we got Quentin Johnston. Anything happens to Mike Williams, who's already on our team, we got Quentin Johnston. So I think he's a guy that's going to be on the field a lot for the Chargers. And again, I think the Chargers are probably throwing for the most passing yards in the league. They could lead in passing touchdowns as well. I want to be invested in that offense. But here we go. We have a tight end spot to fill. I need 2 more bench spots. We'll see what we can dig up here. It looks like a lot of people are on auto draft right now, so the draft is kind of done. You see Jameson Williams, Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, Tua. That's a good pick. This late to get Tua, I love that. Jeff Wilson here. We get QJ, Rashad Penny, Adam Thielen. There's Bills D, Elijah Moore. And, yeah, we're starting to get some auto pickers here. I actually want to do a recap. Look at Harris's team. He's got Aaron Rodgers at QB, Nick Chubb, Ramondre at his starting running backs, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore here at wide receiver 2, DeAndre Swift at flex. He's got Terry McLaurin, Samaje Perine, Juju, Damian Harris, and Adam Thielen on his bench. Let's see what Aiden ended up doing. It's been a while since Aiden made a pick, it looks like. But he's got Trevor Lawrence, J.K. Dobbins, and Javonte Williams. His receivers are disgusting. Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson. Got Goddard at the tight end spot. And then on the bench here, you have Jamal Williams, Elijah Moore. And then is that Jameson Williams there? It looks like Jameson Williams. So I do think Aiden's got himself a pretty good squad. But we're almost up to pick here. Anthony Richardson's falling, guys. He is a really nice QB2 this late. And I get it. A lot of people are nervous about his throwing potential here, but dude could be a really good steal at this point in the draft. I did mention I need a starting tight end. Gerald Everett's there. I can lean back into this offense for the Chargers, but I'm going to grab my guy, Chigoziem Okonkwo. I think outside of Treylon Burks, he's the clear guy to get a lot of targets in that offense. And last year, when he got the opportunity, I mean, he played decently. He had 4 games over double digits at the end of the season. When he gets 4, 5, 6 targets, that's a decent fantasy option for you at tight end. So I'm banking on him having a year 2 mini breakout here. I think Okonkwo is a guy you want to target in your drafts. You can only see half the guy. Oh man, I haven't drafted on the app before, so maybe it's a little bit different look here. But sorry. ESPN needs to up their game. We could maybe draft one more tight end. I don't mind Everett. I don't mind Dulcich. These guys are both interesting to me. I do like Laporta. I like McBride late. Let me see who else we got here. And yeah, Okonkwo he's my tight end 9 or 10. Like I think it's pretty clear to me that he's going to be a good pick this year. The running backs, again, I feel pretty good about what I got. I could double down on tight end here. I can grab Gerald Everett. I can grab Greg Dulcich, who I like a lot. We'll go Dulcich just to get a piece of the Broncos offense. Need the tank. Bigsby? Where is Bigsby? How far is he down here? Did he go yet? Did Bigsby go? Oh, man, he was drafted. Tank Bigsby was already picked. Let me see. Did Aiden grab him? Yeah, Aiden gets Kendra. Oh, man, he gets Kendra Miller and Tank Bigsby. two great picks here, rookie picks. And you want to take some rookies at the end of your draft here. Dude, Musgrave is going to be he might be one of the better rookie tight ends this year. I think Laporta is my dark horse to be the best rookie tight end. Other than that, I think it might be Musgrave. He's got no competition at tight end. He's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to be catching a lot of passes. And for rookie tight ends, I think for this year, I think I'm going Laporta, Musgrave, Kincaid, Meyer. That's kind of my pecking order. But I like Musgrave. All the Packer beat reporters were saying how great he looked, and it looks like he's going to be a weapon starting right away. So hopefully he can stay healthy. I like him quite a bit. I have one more bench spot to fill here. If I wanted to go defense, I mean, yeah, I don't really like drafting defenses in fantasy, but we'll pick one. Let me look at the top flexes. Again, I like the tight ends here. Rashad Bateman went undrafted. That is insane. I'm taking Rashad Bateman. I don't get why he's so low. That's nuts. Yeah, Musgrave's good. He's just his biggest issue is just staying on the field. He didn't have a lot of good injury luck in college. But guys, why was Rashad Bateman so freaking low? I think people forget how good he was to start the year last year. He had two really big games to start the year against the Jets in Miami. I think he's a high floor guy of 5 to 6 targets per game. I'll collect him. See what happens. That's a good pick. And yeah, I think for me, I have Henry, Gibbs, Dameon Pierce, and Gibson. I mean, if something happens, I'll be okay. I can again, running backs, you can find those guys throughout the waiver wire year. I'm kind of cool with going into the season with those 4 guys being my dudes. None of their bye weeks match up, which is nice. Actually, Pierce has a bye with Derrick Henry, but overall, not too concerned about that. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, guys. We're just finishing up the draft here. I'm going to take a defense here. I don't really care which one. The Ravens are probably a good defense to take at this point in the draft. I'll grab the Ravens. I think Philly is another good one to grab. They led the league in sacks last year by a wide margin. I'm going to grab Baltimore, though. I'm excited about the Ravens this year. And then for kicker, it's like, who cares? I'm just going to grab a kicker that's on a good offense, preferably in a dome. I've been kind of defaulting to Riley Patterson. I think Greg Joseph's another one that I like quite a bit. I don't trust the Chargers kicker because they tend to go for 2 and do some weird things, going for 4th down, things like that. That's why I don't like Jake Elliott as well, just because the Eagles go for 4th down so much. So, again, when I'm looking down here, Greg Joseph, Riley Patterson, these guys stick out. I think Jason Sanders kicks outside in Miami. That's not a bad one. I'm going to go with Riley Patterson here, former Jaguars, new Lions kicker. But that's it. That's the draft. Let me do a team review here for you guys. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. ESPN Mock Draft, pick number 6. We are halfway through our collection here, and here is my draft. Jamar Chase, round 1, pick 6. That is a gift. Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dameon Pierce. That's a pretty good core 4. We come back with Mike Williams and pair him with Justin Herbert. We get Brandon Ayuk to be our wide receiver 3. Jackson Smith and the Jigba on the bench just for that late season push. More bench players for us. We get Antonio Gibson, Gabe Davis, Quentin Johnson, and Chigoziem Okonkwo as our starting tight end. Final bench guys, Greg Dulcich and Rashad Bateman, which was free. I don't get that. Ravens D, Riley Patterson. Pretty good draft. Let's take a look and see what Aiden Tobin ended up with here. He had the first overall pick. He gets Trevor Lawrence late. J.K. Dobbins and Jamal Williams are his top 2 running backs. Justin Jefferson with the 101. Chris Olave, wide receiver 2. Dallas Goedert at tight end. And Devonta Smith in the flex. That's pretty nasty for wide receivers. Jags D, Tyler Bass. The bench, though, let's look at this. Christian Watson, Javonte Williams, Elijah Moore, Jamison Williams, Kendra Miller, Tank Bigsby, Rashawn Johnson, 3 rookie running backs. You got also Javonte Williams for the late season surge. I like Elijah a lot. Pretty good bench here, Aiden. And then, yeah, I mean, Jamison Williams will be suspended, but I think he's got some high upside when he returns. And yeah, man, I like you. Me and you kind of think very similar in these drafts. So I like what you did as well. Let's take a peek here at Harris's draft. Harris ends up with Aaron Rodgers as his QB1. Nick Chubb, Ramondre Stevenson, we like the running back duo. A.J. Brown and DJ Moore at the top 2 receiver spots. Tyler Conklin, so he's a little bit weak at tight end. Flex, though, there's going to be some competition here. DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin, Samaje Perine. I think either of those guys could be in the flex spot. Juju, Damian Harris, Adam Thielen, and then he gets 2 really nice late picks here. I like Jalen Warren and Mingo a lot. I think those are 2 of the best picks on this team. So fun draft, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to get out of here. Again, I think I'm going to try and do these on Wednesday nights going forward. I'm going to try and keep it around the 6 o'clock Central Time for me. If that works for you guys, great. Otherwise, hey, thank you for hanging out. Aiden, Chase, Harris, all you guys. We'll see you in another video. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.